Well, here we are again. I think we're on episode 6 now.
I think that's right, number 6 in the episode of the ongoing series.
So we're on 6, but we're going to 1. Number 1.
No, not a math person.
There's got to be some good math in there somewhere. Today we're having Bishop's Barrel from St. Arnold. Neither one of us have tried this beer yet. It is a Russian Imperial Stout that was brewed by, like I said, St. Arnold, and then aged for 11 months in whiskey barrels.
Woodford Reserve.
Woodford Reserve.
I think it's going to be terrible.
I think it's going to be fantastic, and I think he's being sarcastic.
Just a little bit.
Have humor. So this particular beer was probably harder to get than any other Divine Reserve or anything like that. Unfortunately, because St. Arnold was only able to get, I think it was 49 or 40 something.
Produce, how many cases did they make?
948 12-ounce bottle cases.
So 948 cases, and a Divine Reserve typically might go anywhere from 3,000 cases.
It was about 20% of what they typically
Yeah,
use.
so it's very limited.
It was only sold in bars and restaurants, which is why we are here today. Obviously not in our typical location.
Right.
We are in Brix
Wine
Cellars, which is in Spring, Texas, and we are very grateful to them for allowing us to video here. Obviously, we're not able to take these home unopened, so they are allowing us to tape here in order for us to try and kind of give our 2 cents on what the beer tastes like. So,
yeah.
Without further ado,
Good. So it's a good sign.
Watch the pour here.
It's coming out. So it's definitely a
Very minimal head.
chocolatey brown.
It's a light tan head.
We're gonna share. What friends do. Yeah, if you can make your way to Brix Wine Cellars.
Gee, I think I might have poured myself a little more.
Maybe a little bit. They're located at Vintage Park in Spring, Texas, essentially Highway 249 in Louetta. Great selection of wine and cigars, and obviously they'll have some beers on tap and bottle as well.
And might want to keep tabs on them because they are actually really good about getting beers like this in. Not only do they get St. Arnold beers that are a little off the radar, but they also carry a few Southern Star beers, no label beers. They try to keep beers that are here local to the area. So we're very glad that, again, that they allowed us to come and do our tasting here. So
Absolutely.
let's get this started. Okay.
Oh,
wow. It
so
smells like whiskey.
right off the top there, yeah.
Actually, well, like the bourbon and chocolate.
Well, you get that. It really had that aroma that that permeates almost when you would have whiskey and you would smell a whiskey glass.
Definitely some oak notes, which makes sense. What's interesting, again, as I noted before, the number 1 on this is actually going to be the first of a series. They're basically doing like what they do with the Divine Reserve beers with this particular series. This is going to be the first of many barrel-aged beers, so I'll be very interested to see what else they come up with in the future. But for now,
I'm excited.
let's see what we got. Ooh. It's very creamy.
Yeah. Sweet.
Almost has some red wine notes to it.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate.
Definitely chocolatey, much sweeter than what I thought it was going to be. Almost a caramel flavor up front. So we're going to do something a little different this time, and I haven't clued you in on this.
Great.
So it's going to be, like once we've kind of had a couple more sips of this, we're going to have to make a decision. Drink it, age it, or trade it.
Okay.
So we want to let everybody know if they do, get their hands on this. Like, is this something that they need to bust open right now? Something that they probably would rather sit on and try later, or maybe it's just not that great, and they could trade for it.
Well,
I can tell you right now that trading's off the table.
that's what I say. I usually work by process of elimination, so I would go ahead and eliminate the option of trading it. If you get your hands on this beer, don't give it to anyone. Unless it's somebody you really, you could gift it to somebody.
I don't think I know anybody well enough or like them well enough to give them this. It's too hard to get.
Yeah.
And tasty.
So probably not letting go of this one. I don't know, aging it versus. I mean, the best of both worlds would be if you have get your hands on a few bottles of it, and there are some places that will maybe let you buy sealed bottles.
That's true.
Now I can't speak to what that will be on the day that you're watching this video. As of today, I think there was a few places.
There were a few places. Here in Houston, Texas, the petrol station had some available yesterday and sold out in, I think, 14 minutes. And then today, the Hay Merchant had some that you could purchase sealed. And they had, I know they had about 7 cases, but we're limiting 3 12-ounce bottles per person. Now, for an enterprising person like myself, I had to figure out a way around that because I needed 6. I don't know why I needed 6, but that's how many typically go in a 6-pack carrier.
Right.
And so that made more sense to me. So I did pay a street artist who was trying to sell his wares while we were standing in line. I did pay him to stand in line with me and help me get another 3 beers. So
it's very crafty of you.
I have to tip my glass to Quinn. Quinn, thank you very much for helping me acquire an additional 3 beers. It was hopefully worth your 2 minutes of time in line, and it was definitely worth the money I paid him. So,
well, I would say I would lean towards aging this beer if you've only can get your hands on 1 or 2 bottles. It is kind of, to me, one of those. I don't want to say generational beers. I mean, there's going to be other beers that are barrel-aged stouts, and they may come close to this, but it's so, just given the rarity of it, the limited production, if you can have your cake and eat it too, so to speak, and drink one now and then age, I would say that. But if you can only get your hands on a couple, I would say hang on to them maybe for, I don't know, a little while. Take them out, special occasions, anniversaries, birthdays. This is a special beer.
It is. And I can understand why they sold this the way they did. Obviously, they couldn't put out a whole bunch because they just didn't have the barrels to be able to facilitate enough beer to do another Divine Reserve type of release quantity-wise. But I can see why they wanted to get this out. It is really good. And to answer, from my opinion, whether drink it, age it, or trade it, I say it's already been aged because they've already gone ahead and done us the favor of aging it 11 months in an oak barrel. So I say drink it.
It's a fair point. It's a great thing about America. We can agree and disagree. So it is election night, and I guess we've decided to hold an election for best beer, at least of this tasting. And I think it's Bishop's Barrel #1 by St. Arnold.
I'd say at this table, definitely, of all the beers on this table, I'm going to have to go with Bishop's Barrel. I really hope that you can find it. I tried to drop a couple of names, and like I said, Petrol Station had some. I know they sold out. Who else did I say?
The Hay Merchant.
Hay Merchant had some. I'm pretty sure they've now sold out. Star Pizza, I know got some in today. The thing I think to look for is if you're really just wanting to try it, there are going to be several restaurants in the Houston and actually all over Texas.
Right.
Houston, I believe, is getting 500 cases that will be distributed to bars and restaurants throughout the Houston area, and then all of the rest of the almost 500 cases are going to be sent to the rest of Texas and Louisiana. So
you folks in Louisiana who are watching, you can get your hands on this.
You can. You may have to look for it, and you may have to call around. Even here, I had to make several calls to restaurants and bars to find out if they're going to have it, because a lot of restaurants and bars didn't even know to ask for it.
Sure.
So
it's always good. Also, a great resource is to follow, different restaurants and bars on Twitter, following St. Arnold, their brewery, follow them on Twitter. If you're on Facebook, they also have a Facebook page. And sometimes they'll drop little nuggets about where they think the beer might be going. So you can kind of, at least from the social networking standpoint, you can get some insights as well. So, but
for me, I say ask. If you have a local bar or restaurant that tends to carry St. Arnold beers,
empower yourself.
Call and ask them and see if they can get their hands on it. So best of luck to you. I hope you can get your hands on it because once again, I think St. Arnold really hit this one out of the park.
Well, all right.
Until next time,
I'm Michael.
And I'm Michael. And we're drinking.
Keep on drinking.
Welcome to the show. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes good, sometimes bad, some good, some bad.